Yes it is.
When you think of how film started, you have to go to its roots. Cinematic comedy can be considered one of the oldest film genres and most popular. Comedy was ideal for early silent films as it was dependent on visual action and physical humor rather than on sound. In the late 1920s, the technology called synchronized sound was developed, allowing movies to include talking and singing. Audience loved the talkies, as they were called, and the silent film medium nearly came to an end in a matter of years. In the mid-1930s, screwball comedies were launched and established their own place after the advent of film and sound and the social disturbance of the Depression.
This is the land of the free. The last man nearly ruined this place. He didn't know what to do with it. If you think this country's bad off now, just wait till I get through with it.
Screwball comedies often took a saucy tone of a domestic or romantic conflict and were usually aimed at the leisure of the upper class.
I was brought up on goat's milk, had a ration of vodka in the army, and now champagne.
This form of comedy, provided by a new generation of writers and directors, offered escapist entertainment for the Depression-era audiences through much of the 30s and into the 40s. Now let's jump ahead to the late 40s and early 50s, where comedies were usually squeaky clean and exemplified by comics such as Bud Abbott and Lou Costello, most remembered by their comedy sketch entitled Who's on First?
Well, let's see now. We have on our team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third.
That's what I want to find out, the guy's name. That's what I want to find out, the guy's name.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third.
Now, Abbott, you going to be the manager of the baseball team?
Yeah.
Abbott and Costello, hold on. Abbott and Costello were succeeded by wacky, childlike comedic Jerry Lewis with his crooning, handsome, straight man partner Dean Martin. The rise of television and its increased popularity had a damaging effect on film and comedies. Film comedies were declined in number and in quality in the 1950s, contributing to the rise of television sitcoms, variety shows, stand-up comedy routines, and sketches. There have only been a few comedy films since the 1950s with the vigor and creativity of the classic era.
To buy apartment, you're supposed to leave it under the mat.
In the 1970s and 80s, comedy films got a humor overhaul as it was taken over by the comic madness of Mel Brooks. It was Brooks' directorial debut film and one of his best films that forced comedy lovers back into the theaters. Later, he spoofed different types of genres in parodies.
They love toys. May I try one?
We can't go and talk about comedy and film unless we talk about the TV show Saturday Night Live. From the television show, a new breed of talented comedians, all crossover stars, emerged in the 80s and 90s films. The most popular Saturday Night Live film was the wildly popular Wayne's World with Mike Myers and Dana Carvey.
I have an extensive collection of name tags and hairnets.
You can't talk about crossover TV to film stars in comedy without mentioning Eddie Murphy. It could be argued that Murphy is the reason why SNL still lives on today. Not only did he single-handedly save SNL, but his comedic approach to film set the precedent for all comedy films today. Well, I'm out of time, but thank you for taking this journey through comedy and film with me.